Honey, let's get messy and talk crap this week. That's what we gonna do. Hi you guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Torrence, and in today's video, I'm gonna talk to you about 10 different makeup releases that I absolutely love, but flopped. Like baby, the makeup community was not trying to hear it. The average seller wasn't trying to get to it. Most of these items, if not all of them, have at one point in time hit the clearance rack. I'm not sure about this one particular item, but it's been discontinued. But everything here, baby, the brand just couldn't get rid of it. They had to just push it out at the lowest price they possibly could. But I absolutely love all of these items. And now that I think about it, I've had time to sit back and look and go, Torrence, now you see why they flopped. At the time when I bought them and they were new, I was loving them and looking at everybody else crazy like, wait, you ain't get it? Girl, I use that every day. How you ain't get? Girl, you a crazy fool. But you know, everybody has their opinions. Everybody got their reasons on why they want something or they don't. But before we get started, I would like to ask you to please subscribe to the channel. As of recording this video right now, I'm at 241 subscribers. And I promised myself if we got to 250 subscribers by Saturday, I will upload my first anti-haul. I know many brands don't like hearing those type of things because the last thing they want is somebody out there saying, do not buy this. But from my personal collection, there are things that I just do not want. And I have alternative items in my collection, so there's no reason to purchase those items. But if you all hit me to that 250 by Saturday, make sure I get that posted for you all. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you already done so, I want to say thank you. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future uploads. And before we get started, it's not in any particular order. I'm just going to be reaching down, grabbing stuff, and we're going to talk about it. But the first thing on the list, I absolutely loved it and could not believe they let it flop. The Marc Jacobs The Wild One Eyeshadow Palette. This thing is from holiday, I believe 2, if not 3 years ago. And I think the absolute #1 reason it flopped is because at the time, this was $100. And a lot of people was like, 100 who? You mean like 100 American dollars? Wait, 100 US dollars? Because believe it or not, at one point in time, the idea of a $100 eyeshadow palette was like, the beauty community was not trying to hear it. Nowadays, we get them all the time. But I got it because I truly thought it was such an amazing deal. I had already purchased this palette here from Marc Jacobs, which is the number 750 Editorial. And this one retailed at $49. And if you look here, we have 7 shades. So when I heard he was doing this palette for $100 with 20 shades, in my mind, I looked at it as getting almost 3 palettes for the price of 2. Many other people didn't see that. All they saw was a bunch of shades thrown together for $100, and Marc Jacobs, he couldn't sell this bad, baby. Even when it went on sale for, I believe, half price, which is the price of the normal 7 pans, this thing still sat on the racks for many, many, many months, if not years, because people did not want to get this. What a lot of people were really clowning was this particular packaging here. A lot of people didn't feel as if it looked like a high-end brand. A lot of people seen this as kitschy, so they did not want that. I personally love animal prints, especially with my collection of empty magnetic palettes. Most of them have an animal print on them just because, to me, I don't see the point of spending that kind of real money. Like, I would never want an empty magnetic palette made out of crocodile skin. I'll take it, I'm not gonna buy it. But to me, this palette was absolutely beautiful. And when I'm sitting here looking at it now, I can see there are 8 true matte shades, 1 matte with sparkle, and many people kept feeling as if they could not do a complete eye look with this palette. But if you really pay attention, you have like a neutral to cool transition shade here, you have a warm transition shade here, you have this brown for the crease, you had a red for the crease, this looks like a grayish blue shade here. And with those alone, you always had that to go ahead with your crease. So more than likely, this was going to be a neutral look with all of these different pops of colors. But with the shimmer shades, they all truly look different. And although lighter tone shimmers are not my favorite hues, I absolutely love the formula, so I made it work. Many times I had to bring in another palette to make this work. and I can understand why other people would not want to do so. But considering the amount of product you got, plus the price for it, I truly thought it was worth it. But baby, the makeup community was not hearing it. They let it flop. But I absolutely loved it. And first up on my list is the Wild One by Marc Jacobs. Next up for number 2 on the list is the Fenty Beauty. Next up for number 2 on the list is another palette that basically everyone liked the concept, everyone liked the colors, but most people kept saying the same thing. There is nowhere in the world that I can go where I can use this on my face as a highlighter. Although it was marketed as something that can be used all over the face, most people felt as if they would only be able to use it on the lids as an eyeshadow palette, and because it didn't contain any mattes, they always knew that they would have to go in and use other matte shades with it, so this one did not sell. But I absolutely love it, and I want to thank my friend Chanel for giving it to me as a gift. And that product is the Fenty Beauty Killawatt Foil Freestyle Highlighting Palette. This thing here was absolutely stunning, and when the promo pics were released, everybody thought Rihanna looked fabulous, but most people agreed Rihanna looks fabulous in almost everything. You ever heard this blue shade to wear as a highlighter and as an eyeshadow looked amazing on her. The average everyday girl didn't feel as if she had the skill to go ahead and pull this off. This product was sold during the holiday seasons, but by the time the holidays was over, this thing was on clearance because baby, most people didn't want it, but I used it, and because I'm someone who truly likes dual chrome highlighters, the whole trend in makeup when they were doing the unicorn fairy mermaid thing, baby, I was in love. So the idea of giving me anything that can be used as an eyeshadow or a highlighter, you had to give me one, and it was by Rihanna. Even if my homegirl Chanel wouldn't have got it for me, baby, you best believe I was gonna get it for myself. But the fact that it was a gift made me love it even more. But this thing ended up making it to the clearance rack. Most people weren't trying to get it. And to this day, I don't think I know anyone else who actually has it. I have mine, never getting rid of it. Most people didn't look at it. Next up, number 3 on the list was a product that truly shocked me that made it. I just knew people were gonna go get this because at the end of the day, she may be known for being problematic, but I just knew with her fan base and with the brand's fan base that this was going straight to the top. I bought it, did a review on it, and that was the Morphe Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette. Baby, when I tell you, the quality of this palette is absolutely amazing. Anybody who knows me knows that oranges is just not my color. So when I looked at it and seen it, I'm like, hold on, that's right there, dad smack in the middle. But when I stopped looking at them oranges, seeing all these beautiful yellows, these reds, those pinks and purples, then she gave me a matte black. Baby, you know I had to have it. You know I had to have it. And I have a tutorial on this palette here on my channel. If you'd like to see that, I'll leave you a link right here above. But I'm telling you, baby, I love this palette, and truth be told, I honestly like it a little bit more than Volume 1. I know Volume 1 is considered a classic, honey. That thing right here, one of the most famous palettes of all time, baby. This thing sold. You can no longer get it in this formula here because they've changed it and updated it recently. But this second one here, I truly thought people were going to go get it because it is absolutely beautiful. It was just truly shocking to me that that palette, although it sold nicely, the hype behind the brand and Jaclyn just didn't bring the sales that I thought it would bring. But everyone I know who's tried it said they truly enjoy it. It's just most people I know have that Volume 1 palette. Very few people I know have Volume 2. So that's why Jaclyn right there. Sorry for you, honey. Next up on this list, honey, every time I look at this palette, it upsets me that it flopped. It's like, what? Why y'all don't like it? I absolutely love this palette. And at one point in time, I wasn't even gonna get it. I'm like, it's not worth the price. It's not worth the money, the amount of product you get. Who is she playing with? Like, no, you robbing us blind. But one day I was just in the mall. I seen it and I just had to have it, and I'm glad I got it, because although they still sell a product by this name, it's no longer this. It's been reformulated with new colors, and that is the Rebel palette by Charlotte Tilbury. I love green eyeshadows. So to give me a beautiful forward palette like this, where 3 of the shades are actual true greens, and then you have a nice champagne shade here that complements those, it's beautiful. And this was the very first palette I used where I did an all shimmer look. Because for years, everybody kept saying you can't do all shimmers, especially if you have hooded eyes. But I was able to take this palette and do my very first one, having hooded eyes, because Charlotte Tilbury told me I could, and baby, I could. But the fact that they still have a Rebel palette now, but they discontinued this one, and they made much lighter hues of green in that new palette, it's like, this was the one y'all was supposed to go out and buy. Y'all wanted all those deep burgundies, all those deep pinks and stuff. But when we get some deep greens, y'all want to hate. Like, baby, I was just so upset at the makeup community as a whole when she said she was getting rid of it. I'm like, another favorite is just gone out here, and I cannot believe they flopped. But I had to be real with myself and understand, everybody does not like a deep jewel tone color on their eyes. Neutrals sell more than colorful palettes, and light colors tend to sell a little better than dark colors, but I still don't like it. And I'm upset that at number 4 is the Rebel palette by Charlotte Tilbury. Coming in at number 5 was another palette that I truly thought was going to go to the top of the list. The first 2 volumes of this palette made it to everybody's favorites. Everybody used them year round. So I just knew when they did this one, it was going to be a hit. But unfortunately, when it first came, there were those who loved it, those who just said it looked like everything else out there and just dodged it. Most times I hear people buying this palette on sale. It's very rare that I hear somebody say they paid full price for it. But I absolutely love it, and I paid full price for mine. And that will be the Tartelette Toasted palette. Tarte Cosmetics has made their first volume, I believe, was the Tartelette. It was an all matte palette. The second one, I believe, was Tartelette in Bloom, which was a neutral palette. I absolutely love and use both of those palettes. And this one here was a nice warm neutral palette. And because it leaned a little more orange to red toned, I just knew everybody was going to go ahead and get it. But the number 1 complaint that I heard about this palette was this shade here, Crackle, is a dark matte brown with gold reflex that do not adhere to the skin. If you just go in and try to use that in your crease and blend it out, those sparkles are going to start flying everywhere. But to me, I like the fact that I could still use that as a matte, because I usually do my eyes first. Or if I wanted to go ahead and put that on the lid as a smoky eye, I could put a glitter adhesive down and it would help adhere some of those sparkles. And I'm someone who likes a matte sparkle. And I'm someone who likes a smoky eye with a matte sparkle on the lid sometimes, just to give me a little jazz. But I can understand why many people don't. So this one shade here threw a lot of people off from getting the entire palette. But every time I've used it, the look from this came beautifully. And my favorite thing about it are these shimmers. I'm not big on orange tone shades, but the shimmers in this, beautiful. And it was just shocking to me that it flopped, because the first 2 were so successful. I thought everybody was going to be like me and go ahead and get it, but it's permanent. You can still get it. It is full price right now, but like I said, wait for it to go on half price. It always does. But I don't think you would be disappointed if you got it, but it is considered a flop in the makeup world, especially compared to its 2 older sisters. But at number 5, sorry, Tartelette Toasted. At number 6, and I just have one here just because I'm going to show you where the rest of them at, it was a line of brushes. Honey, when I walked in the store, I would always look at them and then see that price tag and be like, nah, sis, you asking for a lot of money. And then I had to remind myself, 1, remember the brand that helped make these, and remember the quality that they put into their brushes. And after doing so, I decided to take a leap and purchase a few of them. Instantly fell in love. And I just could not believe that it flopped because the quality was there, but for most people, the price was just a little too high. And that was the It brushes for Ulta, the Velvet Luxe line. This one here is the 322 Plush All Over Shadow Brush. And as you can see, it has that soft matte black finish on it. The hairs are all black. And these brushes were rather expensive. I believe like even this brush may have been $20-something, but the hairs are so nice and soft, but yet firm, so they get the job done. The handles were long and sleek, and they fit right in the finger so beautifully because it had this slight curve on it, and all the handles had that curve on it. So you could grab it wherever you want, and your fingers just magically it fell into place in the hand, and I just absolutely loved it. And on most of my makeup tutorials, I'm usually using these two brushes, and when I tell you, I've dragged these brushes through the mud, through the dirt, through the sand, through the silt, through the concrete, girl, through the jungle and the forest and the woods. Like, these brushes have had a hard life, and you can just see how it started to flake off. And after so many years and so many washes and so many different formulas that they've been tested with, that does not deter me, because the only thing that has come off is the paint. The handle is just as sturdy as it was. The crystal is still there on the bottom. The bristles are still firm and they haven't started falling out or anything. So to me, that paint coming off just shows you how much they've been used and how they're still holding on. But once again, that price, most people did not want to pay that, because I believe these came out at around like $50, $60 for these bigger brushes here, the foundation and the bronzer brush. But they're so dense. They have such a nice, beautiful weight that they just balance in the hand. And I love them so much that if you look right here, oh, I'm wrong side, excuse me. If you look right here, you see that's what these brushes are. This is a huge cup because I bought one of all of them just to make sure that I have them. These are the backups that I ever want to use. I can go ahead and rotate these. You see I have another foundation brush, never been used, so he still has all his paint on it. And I just have one of these that I can use, and I also have most of these as a backup that I have put up just in case I ever go through the ones that I'm using. I still have another. Chances are I'll never get to them, but because I'm a collector, as you can see, I have many of these. And I only have a few of these because they came and went so fast, but I was reminded to go ahead and just get them because if It Cosmetics was doing a luxury line of brushes, I had to have it. I had to have it, honey. I just knew, like, look at that. It Cosmetics makes some fabulous brushes. I got them from different lines and things like that, but so many that those on that side over there are open, but the backups right here are in containers because, baby, I'm not going to be without them. I'm going to get me a brush going. And so, although now I understand that it's the price that kept people from wanting to get these, it's the quality that made me want them. And I was just so hurt when they had to get rid of them because they still have the two cheaper lines that they came out with. But this Velvet Luxe line, the only time I ever see Ulta market them is when they're going on a half price sale. So at number 6 is, sorry to say, the It for Ulta brushes, the Velvet Luxe line. You're right there on products that flopped. Number 7 was a product I just knew everybody was going to go for, because almost every palette that the brand put out were becoming bestsellers. There was no doubt about it. If they were saying we're releasing an eyeshadow palette, the world was buying it, everybody was talking about it, it was going to the bestsellers list. Like, you knew everybody was going to have it. And when I saw the color story, you couldn't keep me off of it. The idea that you were going to put my favorite shade in a palette, my coin was right there. But baby, when I tell you it flopped real fast and real hard, the Subculture palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. You don't even have to ask. Anybody who supports ABH knows and remembers the drama behind this palette, baby. And the problem was, I got it first day. I wasn't waiting. Greens from Anastasia, give me some of that, because I just love greens, period. But her formula is amazing. So when I got it home, I'm sitting there, I'm playing, I'm online, yes, baby, I'm gonna get me a picture, I'm gonna post it on Facebook. I had to hurry up and get going. And all of a sudden I look and everybody's talking trash. And I'm sitting back going like, wait, what's going on? I thought we loved ABH. I thought we was giving wild, colorful looks, a chance. We was tired of the neutrals. We wanted to switch it up. I thought we was... What happened? They wasn't feeling this. This was a new formula. It wasn't the same as ABH's normal formula, and they weren't happy about that. Me being someone who really likes dark jewel tone colors, and someone who also likes and enjoys pigments, I knew how to use and blend this, and it wasn't until afterwards that I sat down and thought about it, like, Torrence, this was a different formula from the original one, but you had no issues using it because you have no issues using pigments. So I loved it, but if you were someone expecting an eyeshadow formula and you received this, you wasn't happy about it. And then this was also a palette where you really needed to understand color theory because certain shades blend together and automatically create a muddy looking color because they don't blend together. And that's something I know to take into consideration when I'm doing an eyeshadow look, just because I have experience using different colors. So I've never had an issue with this palette, and I enjoyed it so much when they reformulated it and came out with it in an eyeshadow form, I bought that one too. And the thing is, to this day, let me set this one down, I enjoyed that pigment one so much, I have never used the shadow one. And I'm quite sure this shadow one was probably easier to blend because shadows generally are. But I see no need to go ahead and use this one when I have the original and I love her and I have no problem with her. So the thing is, by the time they reformulated this one to an eyeshadow formula, people wasn't trying to hear this either. So not only did the pigment version flop, the eyeshadow version flopped. And I'm just sitting back looking like, y'all could have gave one of them a shot. Like, dang, if y'all wasn't gonna like the first one, y'all could have liked the second one. But a lot of people looked at it as they wasted their money on the first one because they didn't like it. Or if they weren't gonna do it, is go back and buy a second one and hope they like that one. So I understand why this one flopped now, but I still don't like it and still believe y'all should give that second one a chance. Number 8 is a palette I truly thought would sell. When I look at the idea that went behind this palette, I truly thought everybody would be down for it. But once again, this comes down to the general consumer wants palettes that they can do a complete eye look with. They don't like the fact that this palette here, although it's not all shimmers, it is 14 shimmers and 1 matte, so that's where people are going to categorize it. And with that being said, most people aren't going to put in the energy to look for one palette, do all their mattes, and then come over here and then do their shimmers. But the concept behind it and the quality of these shadows made me really think it would sell. And unfortunately, the girls weren't trying to hear it. And that is, here at number 8, the Urban Decay Distortion palette. The artwork on this, the fact that it's purple, look at those. Look at how that color just shifts, baby. I just knew this was going to be a hit, but it instantly hit the clearance rack, and even then, people still weren't trying to hear it. Like, they could not get rid of this even if they gave it away as a free gift with purchase. Let me give this a flip real quick because I have it upside down. When you look at these palettes, starting at the top row and looking down, we have a row of purples that lean more pink, one here that are more darker and lean more blue toned. We have a row of blues, your row of greens, and your row of oranges. And at the top, you have what is a transformer shade that you can either use as a highlighter without anything under it, like say underneath the brow or at the inner corner, or you can use it to help transform a shade underneath it, or as they have lines here showing you diagonally to it. This one here is a purple hue. Over this purple shade, you can either wear them as 2 separate shades on the eye, or you can mix them to create your own shade. And then down here, we have satin shades that have much more sparkle to them than the others. And right here, you have your matte black. So to me, I didn't see this as 15 individual shades. I saw if I have this green here, I can wear that by itself. I can put this on the inner corner. I can mix them to create a whole new metallic shade, or I can put them over this black base and get an even deeper color, and I can do all of that in one place and have this on my lid. The problem with that is I'm thinking of that from a pro point of view on how I could pack just this and have a bunch of different dark jewel tones in my kit and not have to carry a bunch of different palettes. The average everyday girl wasn't thinking like that. She wasn't going through all that energy and effort. If she wants a dark green, she's not mixing green and black. She's going to buy her a dark green and keep it going. If she wanted Transformer shades, more than likely she already had Transformer shades, and she wasn't going to go after a limited edition palette to get it, because if I love it and I run out of it, nah, I don't get it no more. So they couldn't push this palette, honey, and even on clearance it stayed for months and you could find it, but I absolutely love it. And considering the fact I love Transformer highlighting shades, that was all I needed to see. They could have did 15 shades of this and I would have bought it. But to give me this whole matrix of jewel tone dark colors and a matte black, baby, I wanted it. I had to have it. But unfortunately, y'all didn't. And that's why this flopped at number 8, baby. Now, right here at number 9, you couldn't have paid me to believe it was going to flop. Because the idea of any palette from this brand being considered a flop was just like, Who? All she do is put out hits and gems. I mean, she's luxury, she's quality, she's expensive, she's amazing. Like, flop? But baby, the one that I just look at and go, it's something different about you, but it's something special about you, and that's what I like, and that's the reason I purchased it. But you're not quite everybody's taste. You make everybody think, like, how can I pull this together? That's what comes to mind when you see this palette, and so I immediately had to have it. But out of all of her larger palettes, I think this is the one I see going to sell the absolute most, and that is the Mothership 6 Midnight Sun palette by Pat McGrath. Pat McGrath is known for her luxury Mothership palettes. These bad babies retail in US dollars. I believe they're $125. And when you look at this palette here, you see these are not your everyday basic neutrals. Although the mattes are just basic, you have a dark brown, a nice warm neutral, light to medium brown, and you have that matte red. But then you look at your metallics, you're like, okay, a champagne, a neutral bronze, a green, okay. But then right here on this side, you have the 4 special shades, and they're much more pastel than something I would like. And it's like, okay, Torrence, I got these dark grungy mattes, I got these neutral medium shimmers, and then I got these pastel shimmer shades. How do I pull those together? And to me as an artist, that's what makes me go, let's figure it out. Let's see how we can pull those together. As someone who used to freelance and never knowing exactly what your client's complexion is going to be, what their skin texture is going to be, what the event is, and what colors they want to wear, you always had to be prepared for anything because you never knew exactly what was going to happen. And that's what I like about this palette. But when somebody's spending $125, the last thing they want to know is that things are up in the air. They're not trying to hear that. They don't want that. They want to know for sure my makeup's going to turn out beautifully, my makeup's going to look fabulous, and I think that is exactly why this palette did not do as well as other palettes, because people just did not want to take that risk. And although I love it and I'm glad I have it, right there at number 9, Pat McGrath, Midnight Sun, honey, they wasn't trying to hear it. The people are saying they want more predictable, more cohesive color stories. So if she ever try to go step out of the box and do some wild things, I think she's going to want to have to do a more monochromatic, colorful look. But something like that, I think she learned her lesson. But I loved it. I'm going to buy it again if it ever comes out with something similar. The average everyday girl ain't trying to hear it. Number 10 on the list, I'm going to say last but not least, is a collection. Instead of it being just one particular item, this entire collection flopped. And I really thought this was going to be a bestseller because she had previous collabed with the brand for a singular item, and that one was a big hit. So when we heard an entire collection was coming, I thought everybody was going to be on it. One, because the family is very popular, and two, being someone who was a part of the LGBTQ plus community, I just really wanted to support for that reason, and I thought many other people would feel the same way. And that collection would be the Mac and Caitlyn Jenner collab. These here are the individual lashes here from that collab, and although there were many pieces in there, I believe I got everything but 2 of the eyeshadows that were released. I think there may have been a third lip gloss and lipstick, I'm not 100% sure, but it consisted mainly of 2 lip liners, one in Soar, one in Whirl, which are 2 permanent items. I have those 2 here in the permanent packaging, but because Caitlyn Jenner did them with a gold top on them and had her name imprinted on the side, I had to buy another. Do not do dumb stuff like that. If you already have it, do not buy the other ones too. Like, make them come out with something new. The other one was a powder blush in the shade Buddy. And the idea that they named it Buddy and there were 2 colors in there just made it feel like that they were buddies. So I absolutely love that idea. Bought that just because of that. And the fact that this looked like a gold medal, I had to have it. Next, there was a mineralized skin finish natural in the shade Compassion. And the fact that this had a brown, ooh, you see, still got that case right there in it. I've used this, but I still keep this clip right here in there. But the fact that there was the mineralized skin finish, which I used to absolutely love this formula, I had to have this powder as well. Because I truly believe that this color suited many different skin tones, not just Caitlyn's. And because it suited mine, I had to grab it. And this one didn't have the same packaging. It looked similar, but this one had the see-through top here. So it was absolutely stunning, but it still had Caitlyn and Mac right here in the middle. So I had to have that. And I also got 2 lipsticks and 2 glosses here. This here, black and gold, are some of my absolute favorite colors. One of the reasons why I truly love the Pat McGrath packaging is because hers is black with gold detail. So to see that here, I had to have it. And with names like Understanding, Rocket, Beautifully Bare, Kindness, Compassion, it was just such names that were just like accepting and beautiful that I had to have them. And the colors were also neutral. It was just amazing. And the only single eyeshadow I picked up at the time is simply because I wasn't as good with eyeshadow as I am now, so I wanted something that I felt as if would be quick, easy, and I would be out the door. So the only shade I grabbed was Glowing Gold here. Once again, because everything was black and gold, I got this particular shade here. It's just a basic neutral champagne gold here. I really wish I would have grabbed that Malibu bronze, but at the time I wasn't even really thinking of it. And so I have everything here. I absolutely loved that collection. The quality of the products was amazing. They were shades that were very flattering on many skin tones. It's very rare that I like to say something fits all skin tones because very few products really do. But after they did her first collab, which was this lipstick shade here called Finally Free, it was a nice, just neutral mauve pink shade here. This shade here did so well that I really thought that collab would. But what I did not know at the time was by the time that this collection had launched after that first lipstick, Caitlyn Jenner had gotten into a little controversy. But as someone who does not own or rarely watches television, by the time all of the controversy came to me, I had already purchased everything and was in love with it. And so it was like, I have it here now, so I guess I see why nobody else did, because once I got mine, first day it launched, I'm online buying, getting mine. I'm walking through the mall like, wait, that's still right there? Y'all still selling that? I thought that'd have been gone by now. I was the only idiot who didn't know why I was still sitting there, but many people love and support the Kardashian-Jenner family. I'm truly neutral about them. I think they're beautiful. I think they make nice products, but like I said, I don't watch the TV shows because I don't watch TV. So what they do in their regular lives, I don't know. All I know is what they put out to the public. And just one more item here I want to mention. I did not put this one here on the list because with all the rest of these products, I knew going in that the quality would be amazing. It was just either people didn't like the price or people didn't like the releasing, the timing, things like that. With this particular product, at first I couldn't understand why people weren't buying it. But when you go in expecting one formula and you get a whole nother one, it throws you off. And although the subculture fits that, many people did not know the formula was going to be changed until after we had got it. We had all purchased it around the same time as the influencers. So there was no time for one person to, do a review and then we all could get a heads up. With these, we got the heads up because everybody told us. And that was the Becca Light Chaser Formula Highlighters. I love these little bad babies. Once again, during that unicorn mermaid trend, when everybody was doing duochrome everything, I was in love. And my absolute favorite shade, because I bought all 6, was Champagne Dream Fascist Bling. This one here, I believe, is supposed to be a mixture of champagne pop with a nice hot pink duochrome highlighter. Baby. The way she looks on skin is so fabulous. It is so pretty. On those days where I don't want to do anything but just wear a full face, but I don't have time to wear eyeshadow but still want some color, ain't nothing like a duochrome highlighter to save the day. And this is the one I've worn so much that I almost hit pan on it. I ain't quite got there yet. But when I look at how pretty this thing is and how soft it is, I've always been afraid of dropping it and shattering and not having it again. So I bought a backup. Because I'm not going to be without it. But with this, we know why this flopped. One, they wanted full price, and this is a little miniature highlight, honey. This thing is the size of their blushes, which is not as large as their highlighters, but they still wanted that full price. And considering it's duochrome, most people aren't going to wear it every day like they would a full-size highlighter that they're willing to pay full price for. So we looked at it as, if you're going to shrink the product, we need you to really shrink that price. They didn't do it, so it flopped. Not only that, the formula wasn't the same. Becca's normal highlighter is a high beam, smooth, goes on quickly formula. This thing here is chunky, it's powdery, and you have to layer and build this bad baby. Now with all that being said, the final look is absolutely stunning. But you got to put in some wrist work to get this bad baby to work, which is why I bought it at half price and I bought 2 so I could have one and a backup for the price of one. Because at full price, I wasn't going for it either, sis. But once they went half off, got all 6. But that's just an honorable mention I wanted to throw in there, but she's not part of the top 10 list because we know why you failed, honey. Bad price plus bad formula, plus we knowing all of that ahead of time, meaning we ain't giving you our money. But I hope you all truly enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you leave me a comment down below if you were someone like myself who purchased any of these items that flopped. Let me know if you all still have them and use them, or if you were like many people who might have got them, took them back to the store and said, no, I want my coin back. Or if you was one of those people in the group like, you can keep all of that. I didn't buy any of it, Torrence. I saved all my money like everybody else. You was the only fool who went out and got that. But once again, I hope you all truly did enjoy this video. Make sure before you leave, you are subscribed to the channel. And with nothing else, I hope you all remember to practice, continue to stay blessed, and until next time, goodbye, YouTube.